So, hello. Just some small little settings at the end. Perfect. So, that works. This works. Great. And we can see us. Hey everyone, and welcome to our little live stream on Friday morning. I really hope you had a fantastic start into the day and you are ready for some live coding action. And I hear myself twice. That is not a good sign. So let me give me a second. Probably I have to unmute myself. So, much better. Fantastic. All right, as always, when I start these live streams, let me give you a short explanation what we are doing here. I am currently live streaming mostly on Kick, but today we are also on YouTube Live because we want to start with the client maybe, so that we start creating some Flutter development also here. So what have we done already and where are we at the moment? We create for Warcraft 3 a league and tournament tracker. What does that mean? I would like to have a possibility to create a server where we store all information about players, about the league, about the current level more or less, or which rank someone is, or how many games he has made, and so on and so forth, and show that in a Flutter application. Why? Well, because at the moment there are not so many information. So if you go to Warcraft 3, for example, there is no real API there, so you cannot get easily data, and that's for the main game, and also for games like the Creep Check tournament. That's a German league system for Warcraft 3. There is no dedicated app for that. So I would like to change that, and the idea is to create a Go server in the background and create with Dart and Flutter our client code at the end. So why Go? Well, I want to learn Go at the end. So everything what we are doing here is a lot of learning experiment for me. And also on Docker side, we create everything in Dockers. We want to deploy that to GCP later, like Google Cloud Platform. And with that, we have a build system from GCP that we can use to bundle our Docker container and publish it there. And with that, we have all access to the data. Maybe we have to think about login or management system there, but I'm not sure yet how many data requests there will be or how expensive it will be. So I will just try a little bit around how we come to the best solution there at the end. And yeah, without further ado, we can maybe directly jump into the live scene. I hope that explains a lot. So let's switch here. Great. And what you can see already, we have created this nice little Google Docs sheet where we have directly access to it, and we can see what have we done already, what needs to be done in the future. And here we can see things like we want to create a web scraper at the end so that we get data very easily into our server, because that is not that is actually the biggest problem at the end, because we don't have any access to the data. Then we would like to get to the server to be able to receive tournaments, players, and match information. We want to have a database where we can store all the information, and the API should be able to add, delete, and update the data. Yeah, so next task at the moment, as I said, we would like to create a Flutter client, or I would like to do that, so that we have at least a minimum set of information already in our app. It could be very ugly just to get the data from the server and make sure that it works somehow. Then we would like to create more API endpoints on our server. We will talk about that in a second. At the moment, we are only able to create tournaments and receive all the tournaments that we have created in the database. We also created some tests for that, which is quite nice. And yeah, we need some more API endpoints. Jess, you love that. Fantastic. Yeah, then we need to deploy the server to GCP. At the moment, I would like to push that back as far as possible because I don't want to create migrations at the moment, or at least I would like to avoid that as long as possible. Then creating a CI/CD. For that, we can use the GCP build functions. Yeah, and for Flutter, we will probably use CodeMagic. And to get the first tournament in our game tracker, I decided to just take the Creep Camp League. If you have never heard about that, it's creepcamp.de, where we have Warcraft 3 leaderboard at the end. So you see you have a league that is for RBTV. We have the different groups from League 1 to Peon Pit. I'm currently at 5B, so if you would like to watch my games, this is me. And I would like to really enter all these information. So how many matches have been played already? So you can see we had here some matches where I won or where I lost. We see there is a replay attached to it and so on and so forth. And all these information would be great to have in a Flutter app at the end. Good. I hope that makes sense. And what I would like to start with, as I said, is the Flutter client. And I am using Docker at the moment. So what did we have already created, maybe before we start with starting something new? If we go to the to our email, no, that's the wrong project actually. Let's switch that. Okay. So great stuff. So what we have is a pure Go server. We wrote that with Gonic, and we have at the moment a repository. We have the server itself where we have some server setup. We have integration where we have the integration tests lying around at the moment. Then we have the API module where we get the information from, where we expose our handlers like get router, put router, etc. pp. We have repo for our database accesses. And in the main Go, we just set up the server at the moment. So simple enough. And that means when we are lucky, or I've even started already, yeah. So if we run docker compose up, we can see it starts everything up. We use air for Go. Air is a possibility to auto and hot reload, like in Flutter more or less, for our server. Makes it very easily to develop actually and create new stuff into it. Good, and now what we can do, do I have a browser on that side? Yeah, fantastic. What we can do is say localhost 3000 and we get this nice little page. This page is under construction and we can get all leaks at the moment. So you can see this one is stored in the database and we immediately receive the information here. Good, but that's not really nice client, right? If we have it on the website, it's already good to have the API keys here. But it's not really a nice solution, especially if we are Flutter developers, right? So what I would like to do is, using Visual Studio Code in our case, and maybe we can use our new terminal that I have installed. Let's clear a little bit, so bring that up. It's called Warp. Why Warp? It has AI-powered tools and is so much better than everything else, you know? It's like crazy, but I'm really surprised how good it is. So I can recommend it to at least try it out. It is a terminal that gives you, as you see already, like very easy code completion, and that for everything. So if you SSH to a server in Linux, for example, and you need to enter something that you have already entered, then it will provide you all the information that you need. Like if you would like to ping, then you see I pinged Google once, so now it has it as a code completion for me. And I can just do it, which makes it quite easy to work with. Let me increase the font size a little bit. Is that easily possible? No. So let me do it via settings, appearance. Let me see. There's window blur. Ooh, fancy stuff. No, I just want to increase the font size. Give it to 20, please. Thank you. I think that should be readable, or should we even increase it further? Maybe 24. So, good. So with this terminal line, we can now start to play a little bit around. And what we would like to do is going to my projects folder where I have the Flutter projects. And inside of here, we would like to create a new project. So Flutter create, and what do we want? Or do we want to use very good CLI? No, it's too complex and I would keep it simple for now. And I don't worry to recreate the client at the end once more completely. So that's why we will create a very simple application. Warcraft 3 game tracker client. I will call it client in this case. The reason is just to avoid misunderstandings with the server in our case. So let's create that. So that should do the trick already. And let's jump inside of here. And what we want to do is code.zo. And we have our Visual Studio Code. Yay. That was simple, right? Good. Now we get some errors because I have GitHub Copilot installed and I somehow had some issues to pay. Not because I don't have money, it was more that GitHub Copilot didn't want to get my, didn't want to finish it off, so I disabled it for now. Hello Christian, nice to see you. Hey Hamish, nice to see you. Long time no see. Hope you are well. Good. And now what we can do is inside of our lib main, we remove everything, void main, and we say run app. Probably I make that also a bit more beautiful in the future, but for now we keep it as simple as possible. And inside of here we would like to have our app. And here we have our... I can't complain, Hamish. I'm very well actually. Finally again some live streaming action, so that's always a good thing. So, and we would like to return a material app for now. As I said, it shouldn't be anything special, it should be just very useful at the end. So, material app. I think you have... Was it a child, a body? What do a material app wants? It's home. Okay. Yeah, I think it's home. So pass it in a widget, which will be our home page. So, and we create already our folder structure, which will be block for logic. We will have our API for API endpoint calls, and we will have our block is the domain layer views. Fantastic. And in our views, we will create our home page.dart. And this is a stateless widget for now, which we call homepage. Good. I hope I just go over that stuff because it's so my basics that I always do the same way. So if you have any questions, please let me know, right? So don't hesitate to ask questions all the time. Good. Then we would like, do we have to still make this theme data use material free? I don't think so, right? It's the default now. So that should be fine. And inside of here, we would like to have things like the app bar, and that has the title, I think, which is just a text widget. That is the Warcraft free leaks. So, and that's it actually. And then we would like to have here a scaffold surrounding the whole part. That's anyway not right. So scaffold. App bar, passing in this, and after this app bar we would like to have a body, and here we pass in our column. So before I go any further, let's start the app that we can visualize it, what we are doing here. I think that can be a const2. Great. So our goal for today is I would like to create leaks from the app, and I would like to showcase all the leaks that we have. So that would be the main idea. At the moment, I think there is no image possibility on our server. So maybe we have to do that also in the future. So, got it up here, moving it back. Whoop. Whoops. Where's my VS Code? Here. And this one, bringing that to the right. So. And the good thing is, because I use the Mac OS part, so the Flutter app is created in Mac OS. It is very fast, so we shouldn't have any issues there. Could be that it is a little bit off the main app developer or main apps that are using, the main phones that are using the app at the end. My music is very loud. Let me quickly double check there. Ah, much better. Sorry for that. Good. And what I would like to do is creating a column, or better a list view. I think a list view is the better solution here, we would like to have it separated. The item builder gets an... How was the item builder implemented? Sorry. Chop. Still not used to VS Code. How can I show the docs? Like, how can I see what we have to implement here? Is it this? No. Keyboard shortcuts. Probably show doc. No. Generate document format, document help, sort. No. View. Toggle send mode. Show. Call hierarchy, show cloud, release, hover. VS Code, my arch enemy, really. So, VS Code, show command and space. No, with command space I come to the spotlight. Option space, no. strg, no. So VS Code, show docs. Yes, indeed. Control space. Edit it. Show hover. Show hover. Command K or Command I? Both. Command. Oh, that's complicated. So it's Command K, Command I for me. Expected an identifier. Yeah, thank you. Which one? Build context and int. Yeah, all right. So we get the int. Here we go. That's what I wanted. And we just pass in a placeholder for now, which can be a const. Fantastic. The item count, let's say we have 5. And the separator builder will be just also a context with the index, which will be returning a horizontal line. What was it? Horizontal line in Flutter? Horizontal line Flutter. Danke Rahul, by the way, for your help. Network image? No. Divider. Add divider. We want to have divider, which can be also const. Great. Good. How that looks in Flutter. So we have now our placeholder item. We have a divider, placeholder, divider, and we can scroll through everything. That is already our first solution. That's good. And the question is, we want to, of course, have not we can have here a list view item or a list title. List tile. So here we can have, for example, a title, which is a text title in our case, where we say creep camp league. So, and a subtitle. Don't know what we want to display, but some information. So this is now very basic, as I said. That's fine for now. I can't add here. Okay. Because of the item builder. Okay, fair enough. So that means we have this. And now we need to get the information. Like, we don't know how many items we get. We don't know anything about that. So that means for this part, we would need some kind of asynchronous task. The easiest way we could do that is just creating a future builder. That shouldn't be a problem at all. The question is, should we do it with a state management tool or shouldn't we? So that means, should we extract all the information to a state management logic so that we would have like block pattern or anything, or should we do it as simple as possible? I guess for now, I will keep it as simple as possible and we'll go from there. So like improving it over time. Whenever we have a problem and we accommodate to that problem, then we start to fixing it. Could be a mistake in the long run, could be a lot of work, I know. But I think for now, I will keep it as simple as possible. So that means we create here a future builder. And inside of a future builder, we need a future, which can be just a future delay for now, where we have a duration of 1 seconds 1. So which brings me directly to some things that I would like to improve. So this is a builder then. where we have can't direct no. So getting this and this probably, wait, the future stays. This one is a builder, we said. Or get rid of this. So here we have the future and we have the builder up here. That's still completely off. So, and all that part needs to get out because here we now have the context. And I think it's the future builder receives a future and an async snapshot. So the snapshot. Why is that so broken at the moment? Let me quickly check once more. So this is that, and I take that off. So now we should automatically create something, but also here we don't get that at the moment. So we get the context and the dynamic, context and snapshot. Thank you. And then we return this. And everything get read. The argument list view function. Build context. Why is there? Okay, there was just one bracket too much. Fair enough. Good. So now we can devoid that. So this will not be possible at the moment. So what we want to do is actually creating a method out of it, because we get from the snapshot maybe data. If snapshot data has data, then we would like to return this. And if not, then we just show a circular spinner. So circular return, circular progress indicator. Great stuff. And as you can see, it is directly here. And we would like to put that in the center. So making it visible. Good. So that means we need to get somehow data. And as you know, this future delay doesn't really return anything here. So now our view needs to have access to some possibility to get this information. So we would like to ask our API endpoint from the Docker, from our server, give us the data, and how long that takes doesn't care for us, but we would like to get this information like we did more or less inside of this here. So we would like to get all the leaks at the end with all the information that we have here. And probably we will have some sort of state management here. Why do I? Because of the pop-up. Understood. Good. So how can we solve that? Probably the easiest way is to receive the information as a future. So because I would like to have some sort of state in the future, we will have this block part. So do we make that full line? Yeah, let's do that. So we have our leak.dart maybe, where we have just a class leaks or leak. And is it leak? Not really. Let me think for a second. We would like to have that as a service, right? So here we should have our domain logic, like for example, which text we want to show and things like that. So we could make that a view model actually. So let's call it home page view model for now. It's an architecture scheme to have a view model. So home page view, just call it VM. I think that's fine. Good. And our homepage view model will have some information. Like for example, it needs to have the possibility to get the futures. So get leaks. So, and this get is not a good name. Like fetch leaks, and this would be more API endpoint specific. You know what? Instead of creating that first, I would like to start with the API. So here we know we have a leak API.dart. And inside of here, we know exactly class leak API, where we want to fetch these leaks at the end. And we can then have, for example, create leak. We could have delete leak, etc. So every endpoint that we can have on our servers, we would match that with this API. And as you can see already, this is now can now be our implementation, but I would like to have an interface for this API layer so that we do not know too much about how the implementation looks like, but we can replace that with any implementation we want. Is that important for the API at the moment? We know we need to fetch that. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So what I can do is, probably the easiest part would be to create an abstract class, leak API. And here we have the fetch leaks, which returns a list of leak, which we have not specified yet. And it is a function. So it's a function that returns a list of leaks, something like this, I think it is written. So then we have to get this model class, our leak, which have different informations, right? So let's see that on the server, thank you. So we have an ID, we have a name, we have a start date and an end date and a website. So ID is probably a UUID, but we can call it a string, I guess. Sorry, wrong language. We have a string, we have a name, which string name. We have the start date, a date time start date. We have a date time end date. And we have the website, string website. So all of that is red at the moment because we should make it late, or what I would like to prefer is creating a leak constructor. This ID, this dot name, this dot start date, this dot end date and website. Up. So probably because we receive a JSON and I'm too lazy to always write our fetch JSON and all these conversion things that we have to do, I would like to introduce also the first package. That would be freezed. If you have never heard about freeze, that's a package that Remy Roslet brought out. And in this package, we have the possibility to create a lot of boilerplate for us, like copy with, make the whole thing immutable, to JSON, from JSON, to string, and all of that is automatically created for us by just adding this add freezed in top of it. So it makes a lot of sense to have that, especially if you like to work with APIs. And yeah, because as you probably know, to work with APIs is not easy stuff inside of Flutter, sadly. So then we have this, adding it here. I'm not even sure if we need Dart pub. I think we need the builder, right? So the Dart builder. Let me check how to use. Oh yeah, so you see we have to install quite some stuff to make that possible. For Dart, for Flutter, let's go. Then we go on our terminal. Here we go. And we install first freezed annotations. Gets all our dependencies. We need the build runner. And you see the freeze package itself is even a dev dependency. Is already independent pub remove freezed. Then Flutter pub remove freezed. Whoop. Adding it as a dev dependency. So adding the JSON annotation and JSON serialization. If using to generate, yeah, I need to and from JSON. I really want to. Good. And for Dart projects, we don't need that. Build runner freezed. Okay. Run the generator. Flutter. Correct. And I think instead of build, we want to use watch. Now it is always watching for our file system inside of this project. And whenever there is changing something, it will automatically start to build again. So hopefully everything is green here. No, directly errors. This builder requires Dart inputs without syntax errors. Obvious. Okay, makes sense. So that means at the moment we have some syntax errors in our API here. And what I would like to create is an entity folder where we pass in the leak itself. Leak entity.dart. And also rename that because the symbol here would be leak entity. Thank you. And we give it the @freezed annotation. So, and probably we have also to specify in which file this part file exists. Yes, so need this, and we call it leak entity.freeze.dart. Good, so that will automatically create it down here. I think we could also call that g.dart, but I think Remy wants to avoid clashes with other files that could be generated from us. So that's fine. It will now complain because it hasn't built yet. And the reason is probably these parts here. So is already defined. All right, so let's delete that for now. And here's the question, why can't I set up a function like that? Was it function and then like this? No. How? Wait, I can take that actually from... why is it complaining here? Non-nullable filter must be initialized. Try adding an initializer. No, it shouldn't be like that if it's an abstract class. What is going on? Long time not worked with Flutter, so Flutter create an interface for public interface. Silly make yeah, this is Java, correct, and abstract class. So void. Okay, I just implement the yeah, gotcha. Okay, fair enough. And we call it abstract. So, and leak will be an import of leak entity. Good. Simple enough. Let's import also the package. I think that's the better way. Great. So with that, we know exactly how to call this leak API. The leak API will be then implemented, and whenever we have to change something like from the implementation, because we don't want to use our server anymore, but any other server, we have to change to just take this abstract class and implement it somewhere else, and it worked pretty fine. Good, so with that, we should haven't any build errors besides of this part here, and this should resolve by running this wrapper here. The string ID decorated with freeze cannot have mutable properties like string ID. Okay, fair enough. That should be probably final, right? So only have a single non-factor class. Yep. So we have to obviously follow the implementation path of freeze here. So that means person with this underscore person. Since our person class is serializable, we must add this line. But if person was not serializable, aha, okay. Because we get that from JSON and to JSON part, we have to also add this .g file here. Good to know, like this. And this is our leak entity g.dart. Then we say we have this with underscore dollar and then again leak term. Yeah, just the class name again. So leak entity. Const factory. So we have a factory part in this case, and we don't even define so much which class we have. Okay, so it looks a little bit different to my implementation. Sorry for that. So, and we create this leak entity. Then we have a from JSON where we call the generated leak entity, and this part can be gone for good at the end. Then not quite, because all of these have to be up there now. So require string ID, require string name, start date, which is a date time, end date, and last but not least the website. This is a string, obviously. This needs to be there. This can be gone and gone. Do we need also a to JSON part, or is that just for that? will automatically create the copy with toString and operand for equal sign. So it will be also checkable if it's the same. Apply the mixer with the name prefix with that. When defining a constructor and freeze factory keyword will showcase the const is optional. Will be a list of all properties. Defining a mutable class instead of an immutable. I think we don't need that. So to unfreeze. Nice. Okay, so things can be even unmutable if we set that explicitly. Okay, interesting. By default, when freeze but not unfreeze properties of type list in map set are transformed to be immutable. This means that writing the following will cause a runtime exception. So we can't add or delete anything from lists. That's quite good. Copy with works, that's fine. Drip, 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 deep copy, don't need that yet. Blah, 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 some stuff. Name cannot be empty, age cannot be empty. I just quickly skip through the documentation because I searched this part here. From and to JSON actually. Will not generate your typically reuse the JSON 0, making the class compatible is straightforward. Sealed class, model with model, factory model first. No, I think the only thing is the part here. That we have the G part now here. The changes to make it compatible consists of 2 lines. The part, a new constructor, target class, factory from JSON. Yeah, so we have added that. And it seems that the to JSON will be automatically added then in the background. That's pretty cool. Okay, so that means when we have this and our build runner is through, we can see already there are 2 new files that are completely generated for us, where we can see all the nice little things like toClass, toString, the equal operator. What do we have here? Some rest stuff, nodec. Yeah, and the G file where our to and from JSON are residing probably. So yeah. Exactly, so you can see here's our leak entity, how it is generated. Same thing for here. And the cool part is even that the datetime getting passed from the string, which makes it even more beautiful. Okay, but now we have a lot of files here, and most of the time you don't, or actually you will never watch as much into these files because they are generated and you don't want to modify them by hand. You only want to modify this file here. So what we can do is in Visual Studio Code is going to the settings. And here we can hide or show files or something. Or hide files. Yeah, so we can exclude files with a common glob pattern. And what we can do is say something like all files that has the name somewhere .freezed inside. Probably .dart just to make that sure. Can be excluded, and what we also want to exclude is .g.dart. Check. And with that, you can see your file system gets a little bit uncluttered, which can be helpful if you don't need these files all the time. So that's also quite helpful if you work in VS Code. I don't actually know how it resembles in IntelliJ, if you can exclude their files from the visualization, but I'm pretty sure it is possible. And with that, you have your file system, at least in VS Code, looks a little bit cleaner. The interesting part is you will still see them in Git. So whenever you push then something to GitHub or something like that, they will be visible, obviously. Good. I had also some quite interesting discussions with a lot of people that are working with Flutter if you should push your G and freeze files to GitHub repositories. And the common sense everyone told me then at the end was, yes, push them. the build runner is a little bit too slow, and actually you want that state, and also without them you can't run your application. So instead of building the things inside of your build pipeline or things like that, you would like to have always a state that you can run in your main branch. So that's why most people decided to push them up to their Git repository. Just as a side note, maybe it's interesting for you. Good. So with that, we have this leak entity, we have used our freeze package, and in our API, we want to create now this fetch leaks. So this is now an interface, so we would have to think about how we want to implement that. Actually, we want to be as simple as possible, so probably we don't even need that interface. We would like directly to implement this method at the end. Does that lead to problems? Whoops. Inline method. No, I would like to use that. Because it doesn't return anything? Yeah, so return a list. Great stuff. So, what do we want to do? Let's write that quickly down. So, call our server to receive all available leaks. That's the idea. And we need probably the HTTP package, or what we also could do is taking the DO package. DO has the benefit that we can implement some middleware, which is pretty cool. A powerful HTTP client which supports blah, blah, blah. 3 days ago, the last update, so it seems to be maintained again. I think there was like a long time of stallment behind, but I think at the moment it is again under active development, which is pretty cool. Because a lot of people were very happy with the DO package. So I know, maybe it's trying something new, so let's try the DO package for us. So Flutter get the DO package, terminal, pub add DO. Maybe I should change also the streaming information a little bit, because Up. Good. Exactly. So we use DO, and can I do this and this? And then whoosh. I think that makes it much easier to work with. Good. So yeah, so we would like to install the DO package. It's already there. That's good. And with DO, we have to check quickly how we can use it, but it should be quite simple, right? So we replace it with the latest versions, and then we introduce DO, and we can directly work with it. So there are different plugins that you can use in the long run, but we don't need them actually, all of them. We just want to get a response back. So the easiest way to do it is introduce the DO. I think we do that, as I said, very quickly at the moment, and we just make our request. Not the best part, usually you extract it somewhere, but for now, let's keep it for that. So we have our DO that get probably, yep, fantastic. We get it from our path. And this will be, yeah, where is our server located actually? I think it's localhost, right? So let's quickly check that. It should be, if I'm not mistaken, localhost 3000. Okay. So that means we go back here. That is our, probably make some, for now, let's write it down. HTTP localhost 3000 from API v1 leaks. I think that is more or less the call. And then let's print the result. Result equals to. Good. And that's probably it. So now let's fetch this leaks, and we will do that for now as very easily here in the main function. And import that as, probably we have to first leak API, creating that, and const API equals so. And I think that can't be a const, it's final. Good. So, as I said, that's just super simple to just see that we can get here something. So here we get an error that we can't get something. Okay, so also final. And last but not least, we get a result and we crash. Fantastic. So what's the problem? We make an unhandled exception, null, socket connection failed, operation not permitted, address log port 3000. Sure. Our application is a macOS application, and it tells us that we are allowed to access the internet from it. And with that, we get it blocked. So we have to make that entitlement. macOS entitlement access internet. Exactly. So I think we can just activate it here. So as soon as we see our Xcode, yep, here it is. So there we can do two things. First of all, I accept that this is my personal user and I would like to have outgoing internet actions. Good. Anything else that we need? App sandbox release. Let's add also these two, just that I don't forget them. And then we can save the whole thing and close it off. Going back, and probably we have to restart our application now. So what we will do is, where is it? Did I run the application somewhere else? No, it is inside of here. Here up there. Okay, so let's kick that and rerun. Takes a second. Great, full screen app. So exit, and then we will do that again, like left and right, and close it off. So beautiful. So let's see, we get a future responsive dynamic. So that is cool, because this response has all of these fine, nice little elements. Now we can start to work with that. So how does Dio work actually with that? So we get our response object, which we have with a get. We should wait for it, obviously. So, like so, making this whole thing asynchronous, which will complain in our main.dart file probably. Here we go, because we have to wait for it. Not here, here. On the other side, do we really need to wait for it? Nah, we don't. Because we just want to get if the right information is inside. And as we see, after I have restarted it, we get our information directly. So we have our list of objects with different elements inside of it. So that's quite cool. So do we know this is a response object, right, that we receive here? Or is that just the information? That's a good question. So I thought we get a response object, and this one is this one. And the print would be then a response.data, for example, where we have the information. But I would like to have the status code actually. So print the status code and then print the, what was it? Body? Data. Good, exactly. All right, next step. We have now our response. That could be either positive or negative. So how can we handle that at best? I think the easiest way, await, do you get query parameters? We don't pass them. That's good. ToString, okay. Future wait token, no, that's fine. So what I would like to do is, exactly. So first we have to check the response.status code to check if we have is equal to 200. And if this is the case, then we can get the data. Else throw error, no data. So, and the question is, do we want to throw things here, or would we like to have that in the block layer of our application, like where we really want to, yeah, identify if things happened or if we would like to just get that out, but then we don't really... To keep it simple, I think what I would like to do instead of this, I would like to just return that. And I don't even want to wait for it. This we don't need. So with that, we return get, which is a value of response dynamic. That's true. So response dynamic. So the question is where we want to change that. You know, let's keep it simple and stick it for here, and then later we can change that. So the question is, error can't have a string message. It's just an error. That would be unhappy for me. Error interception, error description, error event, error hint, error summary. Well, let's just throw an error for now. And an error doesn't have a message. So I have to really implement that myself, probably. Okay, too lazy for that for now. We throw the error, fine. And print something. Okay, server response is not okay. Something like this, and then we can showcase that as an error somewhere. We could even return probably an error, which would be maybe even better. Or just return an empty list here instead of throwing. The problem is if we have an empty list, we don't really showcase that there happened something. So, nah, that's fine. Good, else we can show the response data. But what we would like to have is iterate through the list of leaks that we receive and then transform them to JSON. The problem here is that we get more than one leak. I don't know how that works now. Let's go to our Flutter. So a Flutter JSON decompose or decode list. And we use the JSON serializable package. Objects from JSON. So post from JSON, JSON decode, blah, blah, blah. From JSON. That's a response by passes in a, you would need to loop it and build an array of posts. Is that what you like to do? Yeah, JSON decode response body map. Okay, so it decodes the body and then it maps directly over it. I hope that works. Well, your service, iterable JSON decode, okay. Map model to, okay, let's try that. I think that's actually the right way to do it. I just wanted to make sure that this is even possible. So we get a JSON decode, which is our data, right? Iterable date or L JSON decode. We pass in our response.data, which is dynamic. I hope that works actually. Can I specify and do get what we will return first? Not really, right? It doesn't make sense either. Okay. So, but now to map over the JSON decode, I think that's not possible, right? Let's see. So we would like to have a list of leak entity. And for that, we take now our l.map. I want to use freeze, but does freeze only creates me the JSON part, right? If I've understood that correctly. So we use that freezed, and as far as I've understood, inside of here we have from JSON, but we only create one entity from it, or is it also possible with freeze to create multiple JSONs? I don't think so, right? Let me quickly double check. Not that I'm talking trash now, but leak entity from JSON. I give him a map string dynamic, and I think it will fail if I pass him in a list, but we can test that. So your idea is that I say leak entity dot, let's take that away, even take that away and that away, leak entity dot from JSON and pass in the response dot. No. It's quite easy. Let's take a look here inside. This is the output that we got from our, let's make that a bit bigger. But what you can see here is that we create a list in our JSON. We have a list of items, and the first item is the thing that we want. So that means we have multiple leagues. And I have to first deconstruct that and then have to use the from JSON for each of the elements inside. So I have to map that at the end. So that was my understanding. And because the from JSON from the league entity, because we get not one, we get multiple, we first have to deconstruct these multiple ones and then go through each element inside of our list and then create the JSON. That's possible with Freezed. So, okay, let's try it. Didn't know that. From JSON and then just pass the response inside. Response.data. So error type list dynamic is not subtype of map string. List dynamic. Why do I Dio gets me a list of dynamic. That's also interesting. Why do I receive a list of dynamic? Cancel that just for a second. I have to read that through. Response dynamic. And then Dio response data just gives me dynamic back. And we say why is okay. That's a good point. So let's see, toString. Can I, okay, I can specify what we received. That's good. Form data from map stuff, post, okay, blah, blah, blah. Tap. Let's see, JSON. Response type indicate the type of data that the server will respond with. Options is response type are JSON, stream and plain. The default value is JSON. Here will pass response string to JSON object automatically. So probably this is the request. Okay, so I could pass in here that this is. No, this getter will only get this. But I can't pass in the options probably. And then I can say options is a new option where I can pass in then the response type JSON. So will that change anything from what I get here? That would mean I get this data and this is still dynamic. No, it doesn't change anything. Odd. Use this as an example. Did you send a link? I probably didn't get that. So why don't we get JSON from data? I would like to get that from Dio. Do I have to just say that we would get a map of string dynamic? And then he will be happy here? No, it will automatically. Extra. What is extra? The data is still dynamic, but extra is something else. What is extra? Custom fields that are constructed in the request options. Do I have to map that like this? Let's try that out. Run our application again. So now I parse the response data directly to a map, but that's also not correct, right? It's not subtype of list of dynamic. Ah, list of dynamic. Wait, I somehow have okay, go further. I have to think. So that wants a map string. So, and we receive a list of dynamics. So print of that. Yeah, I have to think first, as something is weird here. So we get a data, and inside of data we have type dynamic, which I know is a list of dynamics. So, and if this is the case, I can execute that probably like this, and have then my real data, which is this var or final. So, and what we would like to do is iterate over that list with each dynamic, and the dynamic needs to be inside. So we take our real data map. Now we have our element, yeah, E, and now we can create our league entity from JSON and pass in our entity. So this would be how I do it, and then we get back our list of list of league entities, and E or list is this, and then we have to say at the end to list. Good. Now this gives us the list, and inside of here we can then print the list. So let's see if that works. So where is my application? Here we go. A little bit too big. Okay. So subtype, yep, that makes sense. Let's hot restart quickly. So that looks quite better. So now we have that. Install the VS Code extension, then just paste the JSON in there and it will create a freeze class. There is a VS Code extension for freezed. Okay, let's see. Generate freeze class easily. Okay, yeah, but I have the freeze class, right? I just haven't have a multiple of them. So that's, I think it's fine. I think we do the right thing. So we return the list and that's it. So instead of doing this, we could then just say return that part, get rid of the list, and done. And here we can remove the comma and make that a little bit readable. Then just paste in JSON to Dart enhanced is the name. It didn't send the link. Yep. Okay. What's the name? JSON to Dart. Plain object to Dart. Plain object to Dart object. Open JSON. Open. Huh? Fair enough. Yep, but I believe we have already our JSON to Dart converter. 1K, 120K, probably it will be this one. But as I said, I believe we have already a quite good class. So I think that is correct at the end. Jimbo. The fourth. Ah, yeah. 900 downloads only. Okay. Enhance file names, stuff. Okay. And create freeze classes. Okay. So let's see. Let's install it. Let's try it. Why not? Freezed? No. Enhanced. How do I use it? All generated classes with freezed will be immutable and support all methods. Okay. How to install, avoid dynamic, JSON serialization, convert, no. Okay, thank you. Probably I have to create a JSON file and then inside of it I can do it. Or given that this library we could generate Dart classes to parse and generate JSON in a safe Flutter stock extension. What works? Dart to JSON creates your JSON object into separate files. Thanks, blah blah blah. Import no matter. JSON to Dart. Why didn't I see that? JSON to Dart. Ah, here we go. Build models from clipboard from selection. Okay. But now again, if I take this, let's say I did exactly what you say. I ignore that, and we would like ignoring this, and I go here and say print the response.data, and now we get this, and I take it and say JSON to Dart and say add code generation lib. Good. JSON to Dart from clipboard. Let's call it test. Equitable. Yeah, let's take Dart. Do you want? Yes. Do you want to say yes? Do yes. Suffix for methods from to. Okay. Yeah, do it here. Undefined is not a JSON, valid JSON. Okay. What is if I take only that part? Dart, yes, yes, yes. JSON, yes. There is a tool online. Yeah, I think the online tool will be better. I think I know that even. I've used that quite a lot in my former times. So JSON to Dart class converter. So I'm passing it that, generate Dart. The JSON has syntax errors. The JSON parser has syntax errors. No, well, that's great. What? So do I have wrong? Because that is not a string and yeah, okay. Yeah, I did have the JSON. The problem is it's not valid JSON, and that's why I didn't get an error. So if we go into our Visual Studio Code and create a JSON file here quickly, test.json, and we pass in this, you see it's not valid because nothing is a string, and yeah, very ugly. So probably what I would have to do is creating that somewhere else. So I think I can't, somehow YouTube is against me what it means with link allowance. I explicitly allowed giving you strings, but it's somehow not taken that. Don't know why. Sorry for that. So can't, so you have to go to kick.com and send it there. Then it, perfect, it works. But that isn't JSON to freeze. Yeah, that's true. But as I said, the main problem is still that this is not valid JSON. So if I make it a JSON valid, so test stuff. Website is empty string. That is this. Chuck website needs to be also a string. Pure JSON. Isn't it great? Bop, bop, bop. String and string, and now it should be fine and valid. Can I format? Yes, fantastic. So this is now valid JSON, and if I say JSON from clipboard, say test, I say Dart, yes, 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 give it that, yes, and create it here. Now it's happy days, and the question is just where I dropped it now. Test JSON, and did I add it somewhere? Test.dart, here we go. So this is now just immutable. Probably we would have to check how we can set up it for freezed. I did decode, but as you see, the print message just drops me out the information. So I think it will revert that into something without string types. Quite fancy stuff happening here. I didn't choose freeze, so let's try it again. So we say the base class is yes. So here is implement equality operator. No. I would like to have that, but or do I have to select that beforehand? Like, is there something like JSON to Dart with freeze or something? There is something with add code generation libraries. I think I did that before. Build models from clipboard to code generating classes. Maybe this is that one. Then we say test. Now we say freeze. And now we add it to the folder. And aha, look at that. Okay. So that means when I have the JSON that I could have created way easier than that, because in my, let's kill some of these files now. That's quite fancy. Thank you so much, Jimbo, because I think that is quite helpful. So if I go, for example, in my Goland, oops, sorry. So in my Goland, I created this tools part where we have this leak protocol part. And here I can just make this get command. And there I receive a valid JSON. So now the question is, if I take there a list, will it create me a different freeze class or not? And that would be quite interesting to see, because I still believe that our solution there is quite well done. So we replace that. Now we have a list, right? And we say again this. We take our, let's give it a leak list. Let's take freezed. And add that just to our, yeah, just put it inside of here, fine. Leak list, and here we go. So is that different from JSON? Looks exactly the same. It gets a web string. No, it's exactly the same. Right? So with leak list, it's just the ID. It's all that stuff that we have in our entity. That should look nearly the same. The only difference is that they are not required. That's also quite interesting. So if I let's do that. So where's the difference? We have ID, that's all the same. We have a factory. We have here the factory. And we have the from JSON, which takes the same input parameters. Yeah, so string object. Okay, this is even string dynamic, while this one is string object. But that's the only difference I see. Can we see here something from JSON, from the implementation part? Jeez. No, it's also exactly the same. Leak list from JSON, from JSON, from JSON, from JSON. No. Good. And that still keeps me to think that this was quite a well-organized thing. So now I'm curious, because I hidden the files, probably I don't see if I removed a file. So that could be quite a bit of problem. So open in Finder, API, entity. Oh no, they are getting deleted too. Fantastic. Okay. So that tells me that our solution is still quite valid, because we get a list of dynamics and we have to map them over them to make it possible to work with. And then we return the map. That's fine. That should do the trick. Then if the server split is not okay, we do that. And this is actually not possible. That's true. Good. So now we could have different error handlings. We could make a record instead of returning directly the list, that if we have an error, we show that differently and things like that. So, but because if I throw the error, let's say we would use that method directly from the leak API. So we don't, we can remove that, by the way. And the test folder can be gone too. So in our main.dart, we would not do that, obviously. Is that true? I would like to have this leak API accessible right from somewhere. And I could create that in the homepage. Yeah, let's do that. As I said, it should be fairly simple today. So we will just create this service here. Up. And import that. It will not be possible to make that const anymore. And you will be not const anymore. And with that, we can take this homepage view where we have now access to the API. And in our future builder, we will have the call to api.fetchLeaks. And here we have has data, but we have also a possibility to check if the snapshot has error. And if it has an error, we can then show something else like return text in the center. An error happened. Good. So we still run into that, probably because we have to hot restart. And we have our information. Because we have not used the information yet, the list view will directly take everything we have entered here. But because we get this snapshot, we can now use snapshot.data.length, for example. That is not possible to call directly because we don't know if there are data inside. So we know that data are there because of this has data. So that's fine, we can do that. The text will be then the first element and so on and so forth. So we can do that by accessing the snapshot. By the way, we can make that even a bit more future prone by saying here, this is a list of league entities. By the way, that's not beautiful practice to pass in the entity directly from the API back to the client at the moment. We just do that for sole purposes to get something done today. So that being said, that is snapshot.data, take the first element like index, and then from there we just pass in the name and make sure that we have this data. No, why is it complaining? Invalid const values. Aha, yeah, you are not a const anymore. And we have the name, and down here we could show the website snapshot data index of the website. And now it complains probably because the data could be empty, which it isn't. And with that we have that, and maybe we enter here the start date to string. Can I get the hours? Yeah, I could get the day and so on, right? So the easiest way to create this text probably is to say we take the date. Let's do it up here. We have the start date, which is this. Final. And the index, why? Yeah, sure, because I have to do this is a block body, and then we have to pass in this into the block because we need the index, obviously. So, and our final start date is this, and inside of here we then can take start date dot day dot start date dot month dot start date dot year. By the way, this will probably confuse some of you, but this is the German format at the moment. I could also use a formatter for the date format, but I don't. It creates a lot of additional boilerplate that we have to investigate into, and I would like to avoid that at the moment. So remove that too. Then we have that, and this will be then the end date, and the end date. Something like that. So getting the end date will be easy. We say end date, give that the end date, and done. Good, now we have that in place, and what we could have is like a trailing, what is that? It's an icon button, where we have an icon of an arrow, dot arrow, forward, Wait, this is an icon, and then we have the icon, and inside of an icon we have this, I guess. And the icon button needs probably some tab event. On tab pressed, and there we just pass in this where we print pressed. Good, so this one can be a const. This is just a print that happens, and with that we have this leading button, and whenever we press it, we get the information pressed. Good, why do we need that button? What I would like to do is URL or open in browser. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, why not? And then here we use then the URL opener. Use URL opener to open the website. So at the moment we don't have a website, so this on pressed will have also the condition that when we don't have a website part, then we don't want to show that button, or we make the button inavigable. So for that we take this, and you know what, I get a bit too much of this part, so probably what I would like to do is creating a variable for that. Extract variable. Do I have to do that manually? VS Code tell you that. Data is equal to that. Now we say data and data and data website, and I think we don't even need that anymore. Maybe not. Let's take it here and say data.website unequal to null, or I don't know if it's null or empty. That's a good question. So if I am here inside, print the data.website. So press it and it's empty. So the question is now equals to null, or better is empty. I think I can just use that. So if the website is empty, question mark, then this, or we pass in null. And we turn it around, is not empty. So, and now the button is not clickable anymore. That's good. So how can we make it clickable? By adding some data. So let's switch quickly to our Goland. And what I would like to do is go into the database, go to our leak. And now I'm doing bad stuff, but let's go and say https creepcamp.de. Good. Then we push that to the database. So we don't do that in production, please. Only by very harsh measurements you should do that. I did that too already, but yeah, it's not good. Not good practice. So we hot reload and we should get now our data, and with that we can click on the button where nothing happens. So for that we need a package again, because for URL opening we can't do that out of the box in Flutter. And I think there's the URL launcher package. Exactly. So we can see it's supported for Android, iOS, Mac, web, all the things are supported. I think, yeah, good. So we take that, go inside of here, terminal, batch, new dependencies. So, and if URL, is it there already? No. If URL launcher, how was that? Let's see in the README. Elevated button, launch URL, thank you. And if launch URL exception could not launch. Okay. Fair enough, let's do that. Make this import, add the async modifier. The URL is the data.website. And then we say we couldn't launch the website. Whoops. And there is still some complaints. Why? What could go wrong? The argument type string can't be assigned to a parameter URI. Okay, fair enough. URI.parse. And now we pass in this nice little website. Data. website. Probably some mistake of brackets. Fantastic. So with that, we launch that, and if it was not possible to launch, then we throw an error. Fair enough. And it was an exception. So with an exception, I can pass in a text message. I knew it somehow it was possible. So exception, missing plugin exception. No implementation found for method launch on channel plugins URL launcher. What? Interesting. Let's close off the app quickly and restart it completely, because I could imagine that this is just a hiccup. Can I close that side off? Yeah, makes it a little bit bigger, everything. So, now it works. Okay, so I just had to completely restart the app. The reason for that is probably because we want to use plugins. Oh, sorry for that. We want to use plugins. That means in Flutter, we want to directly connect to the real device underneath of it. And with that, we have now the possibility to directly access it. So that looks already quite promising. That means when I press the button, we see directly the leak itself. And in the future, this could be, I don't know, a drill down inside of more information. Probably it will be even. So, but we could also change some database information too, because I would like to, call that creep camp leak. And the start date is at the moment till don't know when. I think we can use also real data there, even though it doesn't really matter. So let's keep that like it is. Good. So with that, we can start that, but our app should be also possible to add new leaks, I guess. Or should a user be allowed to add more information? I don't think so. I think that wouldn't be helpful. So what I like about the app at the moment is that it's lightweight. What I don't like is that this fetch part and so on is all done inside of our view. So the view knows already about this, it knows about future builder. So probably I would like to have a state management where we can get all the data in, and when we have it, we don't really have to recall the future at the end. So because the information about how many data we have, like we have it here, could be also done somewhere else, I guess. And yeah, show then some errors here. Good. We have this if data. Maybe it's not even too bad. I don't completely know for sure yet. But I would like to have this list of leaks at least inside of some kind of state management, because I can use that everywhere, right? It could be that we have to get that from another view and so on and so forth. But on the other side, is it worth to implement yet? Because at the moment we have only one place, and I think, no, not really. Okay, telling that our homepage currently has a lot of info. It has this future builder of these leaks. I think that will be the main information that we have to pass. And I see right now it is not material free. That's interesting. So let's change that quickly. I think that is a theme. Theme data dot use dark, not dart. Use material free. True. Doesn't evaluate to a function, so it cannot be invoked. Okay, don't do this. Or is it material free? Components, style bright, theme debug copy with method with set to true will not. Yeah. If a theme data is constructed with use material set to true, then some properties will get update values. However, the theme data copy with method with use set to true will not change any of these properties. The question is now, is it already set? Let's switch that back to light. for now. But it doesn't look like material free, or? Use material free. Ah, it's a boolean that I can't pass. Oh, good. Use material free. True. Ah, here we go. Interesting, the app bar is now white in material free. Didn't know that. Let's see, material free demo Flutter. Here we go. App bar, bottom app bar, navigation drawer, tabs, search, top apps. It's quite dark here at the moment, so let's make it bright. Show snack bar, show dialog, dividers, chup chup chup, color. That's interesting. Is inside of the Flutter gallery. Is that also? I don't even know if they have already updated to material free. Let's see. App bar. That looks also different. Let's see the demo code. Is that already material free? Material localization, scaffold, local. Ah, we don't see the parental here. Okay. Banner, bottom app bar. Okay, don't know. Flutter gallery material free. So this is now the foundation of material. I just want to understand if the app bar is really get started. Do we see that? Is really just white, because it feels weird that it has directly the same color. Foundation and customizations, design tokens. I know what an interaction gesture, layout, understanding, content design, style guide. Components, here we go. So app bar, bottom app bar. Top app bar. No, it's really just the color of the background. Interesting. So that has changed. Huh. Here you go. That's weird. Color, new color mappings and compatibility. On scroll, no drop shadow. Instead, a color fill creates separation from content. A color fill. M2, bold contrast color separate to the top app bar. On scroll, a color fill overlay separates the top app bar from the content beneath. Okay, so it tells me that it should change the color automatically if it's scrollable. Let's increase quick. That's sorry, I have to test that. That's Tessa created a fantastic talk during the FlutterCon. Now we access that. Okay. Okay, don't wait. I would like to test that, but I can't do it with this. But then we have to remove all of that. Sorry. And just enter some stuff here, like test. We remove that part. Getting rid of this because we don't know. Getting rid of that. Check. And then we just take 250. Icon button is complaining because it doesn't have an on click, so remove that. Let's see. There's a text with nothing. Here we go. True. Look at that. The color is changing. I mean, it's not prominent or something, but it is there. So it really changes its behavior. Funky. A little bit sad that there is no animation to it. It's like pop, pop. But okay. Well, new material stuff. Interesting. So let's get back our informations and do that. Do we have an example for material-free app button somewhere? Guidelines, accessibility. Use straight corners for the top app. Okay, do default heights were chosen. Measure on-screen enter. Don't make top app bar shorter than its default height by applying density. Okay. Ah, look at that. There is an animation. Wrong implementation in Flutter. Wow! Material head bar, no animation. Let's see if this is already tracked. Flutter, material free, app bar, animation. Ah, there it is. App bar elevation not working. Create a new Flutter Pro. Fix the issue by adding a new shadow color property on the app bar. Now elevation and scroll under elevation are displayed as intended. Why you are seeing a shadow on lower, huh? Flag to do, change the column to a list view and I can scroll down. Is it not looking ugly? It's like immediately there. To support material free. I think I will create an issue for that. I don't know why, but it feels like that has been missed somehow, and I think we should make that right. Or what do you think? Give me a heads up in the chat if what do you think, if this is a good idea or not. I mean, look at it. We can replace it again just to make it sure we see it again. But if I scroll in Mac, then it shows up immediately, right? But what I would like to have, and I can show you that too again. Let's go to our material free here. Let's make it big. There we can see it. It's like a smooth transition. It should be very smooth. But let's switch that quickly because maybe this is just a macOS thing, you know, that in macOS we don't have animations because macOS and design, they don't know what they are doing, right? So let's, how can I, let's kill the app here in this one. Go to terminal, Flutter, run D, and simulator. I can probably choose, or if I run Flutter run. Connected devices, none. Chrome or macOS, okay. Then iOS sim. Okay, so how do I open up a simulator? Go to iOS, open integrate. No, that was wrong. The open Xcode. And first of all, add the support for signing and capabilities. Ah, yeah, it's a little bit different. Fair enough. Then let's start up on an iPhone 13 Pro. To create visual preparation. Build failure. What's that? Generated. Okay, can I just open up the emulator? Any iOS simulated device? Simulators? Module URL launcher iOS not found. Flutter clean, Flutter good. So, close Xcode. Check for if minimum deployed version in pod file is not commented. So let's close that. Go to iOS, Flutter. No, the pod file. Yeah, here. Should be this. And then check if the package schema is added in the info plist. LS application query schemes SMS. Did I miss something? Ah, yeah, there needs to be some stuff inside. Entries in the info plist, otherwise it will return false. Okay, fair enough. Then in iOS we have again more work to do. Let's do that. That's in the runner info plist. Go to the bottom and add that stuff. Fair enough. What else? No, let's go to the parse Xcode. Use the latest version in the package. Date, okay. Delete the pubspec.log. Okay, let's don't do that yet. Let's open up Xcode and try if that works already. Run. And don't use an iPad, please. Don't do that. Build failed again, and still the same problem. Okay, do and run the following. Delete the pubspec log file in your app directory. Move to trash. What else? Flutter clean, Flutter pub-get. Flutter clean. iOS pod install. A lot of yellow stuff. There are 2 dependent total pods installed. Ah, okay, so they are just missing. And probably pod install update. Good. With that, hopefully now it should work. So Flutter run. No. Xcode, keep Xcode, use version on disk. Use version on disk, please, and restart. Let's build, go, go, go. That looks better, much better. Fantastic. Launching the runner. Great stuff. Ah, here we go. So that took quite a while. Sorry for that. So let's see. Running. Is it there? No. Ah, here we go. Okay, so no, also no animation. It's just a popping onto a different color. I mean, it's a nitpick, but hey, it's the design. I mean, they can't do what they want. That's not how it works. I think I should add one. App bar animation. Did someone else complain? Expanding, app bar. Sliver app bar stuck sometimes was great. You know what? Material free. I report a bug. Bug material free app bar. Animation is missing on scrolling. Thank you for using Flutter. If you are looking for support, please check the blah blah blah. I have searched existing issues. I have read the guidelines for finding a bug. I did not actually. Maybe I should quickly have a look. Provide a minimum or a code example. Can do that. Provide some Flutter diagnostic. Run the command in verbose mode. You know what? I can do that. I can do that very easily. By the way, I can close that and let's go to Visual Studio Code. Go to our home page and. You know what, we can just copy that. I don't even need the future builder, we just need that list view separated. Dartpad.dev and create a new Flutter. Nano chat, whatever, implicit draggable and physics. Maybe we have that here directly. Run. I know that's a draggable card. Fair enough. That's not what we necessarily need. So let's take a simple counter app. And there we have our build, we have homepage, whatever. I think most of that we don't really need. Replace our body with our list view. Missing separators probably everywhere. Oh. New home. Test.dart. So it's easier to solve here brackets issues. Finding that this, okay. List view separated and scaffold is finished here. So that's probably an issue. This is a body, this is that, a scaffold, so probably we need a separate one and another one, no. And then this one, fair, okay. Good, now this looks already good. We have a const here, and we take the whole thing, pass it here, and run it. And we have to switch the theme data, let's take this one in light. Use material true. Error compiling JavaScript. Okay, there's a comma missing. And run again. So, and why is it not using material free? Good. Yeah. Scrolling issue. So, and I think I can share that somehow. Dartpad's using gist to publicly share your creation. Dartpad looks like main index blah blah blah. To share your code with others. Create a gist with main.dart, index HTML if needed, and CSS if needed. Direct Dartpad to the gist ID, for example. Okay, so what I need is creating a gist. New gist. Bug. Material free. Scrolling. Animation. Missing. So, file name main.dart. Passing in the code that we have here. Create secret gist, and I can even make it public somehow. How can I publish it? Doesn't need that. Okay, but what I get now is this nice little ID over here. And if I say now dartpad.dev/this, nope, that didn't work. Did it? UI output value line counter. Do I have a counter up here? Okay, I just keep all of the stuff, so probably I have to remove that too. So I think we don't need that. Use material free is missing. Should change that. So light use material free. True. Comma, get that rid of. So remove the increment stuff. Remove the counter because it's not needed. We just need the list view and make that visible. So reload this part. Fantastic, and run. Good. So now back to our issue. Steps to reproduce. First, create a new Flutter app. Second, add a list view of items. Enable scrolling. Scroll the list. Expected result. Material free app bar should scroll. Should animate to different color. Material free app bar changes color without animation. Looks code sample. Let's do it with this. Paste your code here. Well, really? I mean, a little bit unhappy with that. I just pass in that. I think that's fine. Video demonstrate, upload your media here. Okay, can do that because we have first of all this nice little animation here that we can see. This is the first one. And this one is the Flutter of material free official documentation. And what I can create is with cap, we can make a small video about how we scroll. Let's see if this is even possible with a live stream running right beside. So let's take that. Here we go. And scroll and scroll. Up. Close. Scroll and scroll. Voila. I hear myself again. How did that happen? Okay, probably while I record it dropped. Ah, this one is recording my audio. Get rid of it. Jeez. Okay, anyway, then we have it here. I guess will be a funny issue. Whoever watches the video will always hear scroll and scroll. Poor whoever takes that. Okay, anyway, put that in. Yeah, I think that is now visible. Good. We can maybe add a short description. Yeah. I hate scrolling without animation on an iOS simulator. Logs we don't need. Probably include the full logs, the commands you are running between the. Yeah. Really? Just remove it. Don't have that. Flutter Doctor output. Oh. Okay, okay, okay. You get the Flutter Doctor. How did I have installed free ideas? Jeez. This is a real IntelliJ fanboy here, I tell you that. Fair enough, we have that too. So, that makes it this. I think this is a code sample. Okay, you know what? You get also your code sample if it's necessary. So let's take all that, put that here. Screenshots or active logs. Why is it still not with an asterisk? So this was necessary, we added that. This was not necessary, this was necessary, we added that. We have that, this is there, this is there. Ah, and I have read that down. Okay, fair enough. Did we though? Run the verbose mode. Most logs, provide a crash report. I think that's fine. Still not possible. Why is it so hard? No logs? No, still not. I reload quickly. And I have to retype everything in, really. Scroll, that's correct, code sample, correct, no logs, doctor, submit. Good, and with that we should have everything in place. Good, then we have created a new bug report on Flutter, look at that. So we have been productive, real open source developers here. Now we should fix it directly, but I think, no, don't do that. Good, but that means we have our test.dart can be removed. We don't need that. Back to our home page. We want to get our local history back. So, and I think with that, we should have, again, a consistent state. We can remove our iOS simulator. We can get rid of Xcode and clean up just our task elements a little bit. Good, and with that we can start up Flutter again, run, and let's see what we have here. What would be the next step? Check. Exactly, we can. So we get our leaks already. We can visit them directly, but now we would like to also include things like the groups, right? So let's check out our Goland, and I think what we should do is go further with the server, that we can implement more information into the league system. So we have at the moment a league, but we need also the groups now. Means we have an ID. So how does that look at Creep Camp? I use that as a reference at the moment, but that will be somehow possible for all the leagues. So we have a group called League 5B, so it has a name. I think we have that, right? So, oh, that's a good point. Does a league have a name at the moment? No. That's a mistake, so probably we have to change that in our docs. Let's see, we have here our match veto, game, our group, and our group has a name. Don't forget that, that's important. So that also means we have to change our migration again. So our group has a name. Text. Much better. A game map has, by the way, a name. Yeah, and I think that's it. for now. Participant group. Maybe we even have to store for each match. Where is it? The match. There we have also the replay that we want to save. So that would be a blob. Data. Blob in Postgres. Blob in Postgres. How to use blob? It's a byte ER. If you have, why is it? Do you see any data large? Yes, they are harder to work with. Some security issues. It's binary data. It certainly does not double the size. The hex format is for input, output, not for storage. I could create large objects and store them in our database, but I think there is a better solution. We could create a Google Cloud Storage container, and inside of this container, we can then pass in our large objects and then store them directly there. So that here would be then a string, a text, obviously, and this would be our replay URL. So when we upload, we load them up into the cloud, and then we have our replay URL. So in our thing here, we have the match, and it has a replay URL, which is just a string. And the replay URL, can I add here some comments? No, unfortunately not. Sad. So, good. And again, we improved our database. Isn't it great? So small things like that are amazing in my opinion. I really like that. So the thing is, just because we changed that inside of our init up, and this is our first initialization and our first migration, we have to probably rerun the drop and the bring it up again method. So console test, yeah, we are on the API, on the real one. So let's drop all the tables and get them back by adding them into here. Go. And with that, we should have our tables back with our games, etc. But now the problem is that our leak is missing. Yeah, fair enough. To make that easy, we just enter here all the data for now. We could also create inside of the migration that we pass in some default data. Is that something we would like to do? I don't think so. So I think we do it this way at the moment. Something like that. The start date is fake at the moment. This is just a leak, and the participants is not really there. I think we changed that anyway a little bit. So this should be a website. https creep camp.de. So, and if we put that, we get our ID back, and in our leak, we have now our entry. Great. Good. Next step. Let's commit that first, like here, adding a symbol. Store. Do we have something where we can have and showcase a database? Let's take the disk. Improved our database schema to handle replays in matches. And what was the other thing that we did? Replays, and I think we organized... give group a name. Good, then we don't forget that. Fair enough. So that we have that now. So now we want to create these groups, right? So that means we go to our API layer. Here we create a new Go file called group.go. And inside of here, we have quite some to-dos. We would like to get all groups. We want to get one group. We would like to create or upsert a new group. The question is upsert even a better idea than just creation of it? Because if we want to update it, we could give an ID. Yeah, let's start with an insert, a new group, and then we can go from there. And then we have an update of the group. On the other hand, do we really update at the moment? I think for the admins it could be interesting. But for now, we don't really think about admins, right? We just want to pass in all the data and we want to make it receivable from the client. So there will be no such a thing than updating it and really managing the leak for now. Maybe in the future that you can create with us like that. Hey, that's a cool idea that we could have like a Warcraft free leak creator or something like that. Interesting idea. Let's keep that in mind. But for now, yeah, we want to make it fetchable. The idea is of these leak parts that we have the register of the different endpoints that we want to expose. And then we implement the different handlers. So also here, very lightweight at the moment. So not 3 layers, just 2. And we will increase that if we need to. Get rid of that. And here we register our register group endpoints. We get also the router group, and then we have a getter for our groups. Then we have a getter for group, for a specific group. Important here, we need to get an ID from that get request. So the question is, do we receive a parameter from it? So then it would be like group ID, something like that. I don't even know how to handle that with Jin, so we have to read that through, I guess. But yeah, I think that will be the case. So we will pass the ID in the back of it. And then we have different handlers here, obviously. So the handler will be a func all groups handler, or yeah, something like that. Then we have the function one group handler, and all of them have the context ctx from gin.context. And also here we have the ctx of gin.context, and we have the func create new group ctx gin.context. Good, and all of them do something like to do get all groups from db and return to ctx to request response and respond. Get a single group from the DB. Here we can say we have to first extract the ID from the CTX. And then, yeah, that's correct. And here to do extract group information from CTX. Get all groups. No, we create one group and store in DB and respond accordingly and respond with the UUID. Good, then we have all that, create new leak, and I think we do that also with a post, with a put on that, like create new group handler. One group. Good. So then we have to register these endpoints. We do that by going to our main Go setup, and I think up here we register the web endpoints, api.register group endpoints, where we pass in the grub router of api/v1/. And this here could be a constant, and let's do that. Replace 2 occurrences, and this is the constant for yeah, API prefix. So not happy with that. Why? Expected got API prefix. Okay, let's pass it here in. Why is it complaining? Rename. Okay, fair enough, can do that. Ooh, that's even possible. Interesting. How do we... Ooh, even better. Okay. Fair enough. Sorry, I'm not that expert in Go, as you can see. But that means we have a constant that is the API prefix and we pass it down here. So that's fair enough. Then we don't have to identify that too much. So whenever changes something, for example, we have a new version, v2. On the other side, is that so good? Maybe we want for groups a v2 version, but for the other thing a v1. Or do we always want to update for all the versions? I think to update it for all is a good idea. I'm not sure. Let's see. Maybe you are an expert for API design, then we can talk about that, because that would be quite interesting, I guess. Good. Then we have our group Go. That is all implemented. We know how to do it. Quick think if there is a problem with that. I don't think so. Let's get into it, right? So remove these because they are there. The all group handler should be quite simple. So first we go to our repo, and at the moment we extract get all leaks and open connection. So probably we don't want to do that. Go to the repository, create also the group.go here. Func, yeah. How did I name them? I think I took that with get, right? Yeah, I think that's fine. Get all groups. And get all groups is quite simple because I just take the DB, which is open DB. I think I have to call that, right? Oh no, it's just okay, but I can't do that. I have to use the get open connection. And then we can use the DB to get. I think we can use get directly actually. Then we have the interface that we want to pass in. Where we have to set up the groups entities, and then we can do that. So we have the group. A group of a slice of group, and then we pass in the query string like get select star from group, and now we have the first time a misclash with the query, so we have to do it like this. Is that possible? Like that. And that's it. So the group is not existent. So inside of our entities, we have a group entity.go. And here, this is a struct. So type group struct Bob. And that has some information like select this, and then we get that it's the ID name and so on. And you know what? For that, we have our docs here prepared. Now we search for group. And we can take all, this is the match veto game, no. Here's the group. Get all these information and pass that more or less here. Just, or we can take it even inside and update it accordingly. So this is a uuid.uuid. The string is a string, probably that's small written, fair enough. uuid.uuid. On the other side here, instead of the leak ID, I could get the leak directly. Is that a good idea? No, I don't think I need that. Hopefully. Let's think about that. Not sure. So this is a string, that's fine. Int is fine. Maps per match, I think that's all good. But now comes the interesting part. We have to specify, hey Tariko, good, nice to see you. Probably we have to insert here some information about JSON. What's the JSON name here? And probably this is ID, name, this will be leak ID, this will be the admin. Do I need a JSON actually at this place? No, I don't. What I need is selecting all this JSON, call it DB, because I think that is the right path. Vetoes, maps per match, or MPM, status. And what I saw also is we have to replace all the first letters with a big letter because we want to make them accessible. So Vitos, maps, and status. Simple enough. So what is this for? This DB part? I think we don't necessarily need it because we have direct access here. Do you know JSON to struct tool in Golang? No, I don't know that. So we have that too here. So JSON to go, to struct, sorry. Generate struct fields from JSON. That's cool. You have selected the intention category Go. By selecting the checkbox, you can enable deselecting all intentions and categories. The sample code featuring, let me make that a little bit bigger. Thank you for the hint here. But this is an intention. Will be shown here in flashing rectangles. The result of applying the intention will be shown here. This is intention, though. That's not what we want, right? JSON. Generate struct from fields JSON. Probably this. Put JSON here. The sad thing is I don't have a JSON yet, right? Open empty Go file. Okay, let's make that empty. Paste the JSON. Ah. Okay, so if I would have a JSON here, like let's create, just to have a purpose here to test it out, like I have an ID with 1234, 1234, stuff like that. Do I make a mistake here? Ah, because it's a Go file. So, okay, and now I can, no, JSON to struct, JSON, something like that, and then I say generate. Oh yeah, nice. Something like that. The problem is I don't have the JSON, sadly. So it is completely generated from my side at the moment. So that's why I don't know what the JSON is actually. But it's a good point to know that when you have the JSON, you can directly generate it from here. That will be handy in the future, I guess. So yeah. I have a database, yes. Ah, can I get a JSON from the database? SQL script tools, import export, export data to file, import copy table to target schema, table, let's say group. No, but this is to copy it somewhere else, I think. Compare structure, manage, show, full, modify, click view. View. Database objects. What, virtual views? No, I don't think you mean that. Click view. Edit data, go DDL, compare struct, jump to query, filter. Ah, view up here, maybe. View. Click view, show JSON in table. Show source, compare. Tool windows. Debug grid mean. Sorry, I'm again on the line, I don't know. Click in debug grid. Ah, here you mean. Ah, okay, makes sense. Okay, click here and then quick docu, full text, switch session group, add row, open in value, aggregate, edit, paste, add row. or inside of here, and then I see it here. PD appearance, quick, jump to source, show source, no. Close the database page. All right, so closed. Look toolbox. In the DB view, I'm not completely sure. What is the command that I'm searching? Maybe I can just search for it with Command Shift A. Edit data, right click, edit, export table to clipboard. What do I get if I do that? Nothing. In DB view, open in table. Open the list. View. Edit table. Okay, edit table. Yeah, no problem. A modify table. We can do that. And then we are here. New edit, edit. On the YouTube side, at the moment, someone... maybe I can do the following. Just to make that everyone visible. So look at that. I can have the chat here up. So you see both sides, and then you know what we are looking for at the moment. So Tariq Kogut has a good idea. It seems that we want to have the structured JSON tool, and we would like to get the JSON DB table information. But maybe I'm on the line, so let's check once more what he's writing. So and paste JSON. So do you have a DB? Yes. So click view. So the click view is either here on top. Quick scheme by the text-based searched. I don't know here. I don't see anything. Then we have our tables, and let's see, DB grid mean show as JSON in DB table, show as JSON in DB table, show as JSON in. So we have the tables, open the list, group, for example, copy, execrate, show, execrate, set highlighted language, go to no. DB grid mean, click right in DB grid. Maybe this. And here we have the columns. Close database page, lock, look toolbox in DB view, open table, just look view, edit table. New, there's that stuff, open the list here, right? Can I get that now? View, jump to data grid, recent files, compare with, reset, no. Can put link, I think so. CSV. I think I know how to export, import data, copy table 2. But this is like copying as a schema, and I would like to get that. So it's more like exporting it. PG dump table, copy table 2, export data to file. Can I just select JSON here? Let's do that. Look at that. We have some stuff. Okay, so export preview. That doesn't make any sense what is written here. Copy to clipboard. Okay, but this is data that I extracted here. That's also not what we want. Can put link. So you can see CSV. Click in toolbar CSV. 7 rows, refresh, CSV button. 7 rows, refresh, CSV button. 7, I have columns here. refresh. 7 rows, refresh. Oops. Cancel, okay. 7 columns. Refresh, drop, open, list, navigation, CSV button. Is there... Probably you see it and it's so obvious. You can see CSV, can put link. How can I show you? You can't put a link inside of the chat, inside of thingamajiggy. That's weird. I thought I have set that up. Let me quickly check and I will update that accordingly. Maybe then you can set a link. Hide polls. Okay, don't want that. That's something else. Community, chat settings. Allow viewers to post links in the chat. It's marked, so you should be allowed to set a link into the chat, actually. Show quick emotes, show banners, show lifetime, weekly gifted. Yeah, that's all there. Show quick emotes, show banners. Oops, I hear myself, sorry. So. Once more, open the table, just look the view, edit table. How can I show you? Okay, let's see. We can go into the table. What do we have up here? Maybe there's... Ah, look at that. It's too small. That's the reason. You want to get this one. And inside of the view, I can probably choose JSON. And now I can do something. Export, copy to database. Compare data view as. Transpose. Show map. Paste format, reset view, view query, show geo view, show value editor, no. Data extractor, but this is data extraction, we don't want that. What do we have else? Find current page, go DDL, TX, no. Tree, text. But maybe the problem is that I see this and not this. So what would be if I open the list here? Can I then get it as... No, this will not be possible. Transpose. Customize toolbar. Right click here. View as tree. Here, as tree, okay. Look at that! Something has changed. So what do we see? Finally. 1, that's that. Okay, but it looks very JSON-like. So comment, null, stuff, not null. So name, ID, comment. So this I can copy probably. And now we can go to, let's create a new struct file for now. Test. Pasting that in. What do we see? Nothing. So close. Maybe I can do the same thing with the group. What can I see here? So if I add that to visualization tree, nothing. Okay. So we stick with the columns. Open and list. Name, ID, comment. Ah, this is just the first field. But that doesn't help me. Export data. Ah, now I can export it as JSON probably. What do we get here? Yeah, but that is quite... Transpose? No. Get quite a lot of things here. And you say now I'm pasting that inside of here? No. Why didn't it work? I mean columns, we export, JSON, transpose. I say copy to clipboard. And in our test.json I replace that and get this. Delete all. Hey, train of thought. So at the moment, we have a database in Go created, like our PostgreSQL, and I would like to export the data scheme, but somehow it doesn't work. Go file. And the idea is to get all these things into our Go file. But the problem is whenever I copy them over, like let's say I'm here, it's just a test and it would be helpful for the future. So that means we can export the data here, we can copy that to that, go to the test, and then we can just copy it. But somehow it does not really copy it into my clipboard out of some reasons. So not quite sure why, but it seems to make weird stuff here. So let's add that to a file path that we can easily access for now. Let's put that in temp, I think, tmp. So I copy to clipboard is not working correctly, right? So I just have then this in mind. So that is the idea that we want to do. And Tariq Hogut has some good ideas and he probably knows exactly what he wants to do, but I'm standing on the bridge and have no clue. So we have 7 rows, refresh CSV button. You open and edit data, view as tree, export data, copy clipboard, delete all, go to file. CSV, there I get just stupid random stuff that doesn't help me. So we want to do it with JSON. And there's a link, JSON to Go. This tool instantly converts JSON into a Go type definition. Paste the JSON struct to the left. The equivalent Go type will be generated on the right. Okay, so that's good. But the problem is to create JSON is not the problem. It's the problem to get the data. What is a JSON? So from the database. So that's maybe what I can do is Goland database grid to JSON. So blah blah blah, controls, new, duplicate, get table JSON, import export data. Okay, that's not what we want. Is there a simple way to convert database rows to JSON? I'm dealing with the same issue as in no other way. All packages that I have used in all the data goes through. No, that's more like a generator. And I just want to get the database Goland database grid or database get rows to JSON. No, that's also a generator again. Data extractors, that's how it gets the JSON. So I think your idea is here, it's Mac. Just Command C. So your idea would be that I copy that over, running go fmt. Copy, yeah, Command C, I did that. So what do we get? You see the auto-generated scrub has then everything like command, data type, not null and whatnot. That not necessarily helps me, right? Because we want to only have so this is the whole how the idea is structured. So maybe I'm wrong here. So we should go to the group, or should I go inside of here? I think all of that makes not so much sense. So here we have the table, copy column name, ascending, get, hide column list. Copy the database. Transpose, maybe this way. Copy column name. Nah, that's not how it works. Paste with SQLX, right. Yes, we use SQLX. But is it so difficult? I did not expect that, honestly. Columns, new. Anyway, I mean, it does not help us so much. Sorry, Tariq Hogut, to avoid you there, but it's too much work to not. So let's see what we can achieve here. So let's remove that and let's say we have no usages. Great. So we have created that manually at the moment. So because that is more or less the representation of our DB. Or what would be your idea now that we use SQLX? No. ID, name, I think that's fine. Good. So I think the JSON part is not even necessary at that point, so that's fine. We get that in, and from here on, we can use that here. So group can be ported. That's group entity. Group entity, not visible. So it's entities.group entity, and I think then we can call it also just group because it is in the entities folder. So he complains about that. Invalid operation does not support indexing. Let's quickly check the league part, how we did there, the thing. So we select the league entity and we created a list of that first. Okay, I think we can do the same thing. And we can even use the same method and everything. Okay, that being said, we would like to create a variable for that. So to allocate some space. And here we have our group entities, which is, that's a declaration. So we have a slice of entities.group slice. Is it the other way around? Slice of entities group. Yeah. And this part comes inside of here with an and sign. So that's correct, right? So and sign league entity is correct. So then we do that, and I think instead of a get, we can use the select operator. On the other hand, where's the difference between that? Get using this DB, any placeholder parameters are replaced with supplied args and error is returned. And if I use select, what do I get here? Select using this DB. Okay, it's exactly the same thing. Hard to tell. So probably we will have to check that in the SQLX part. Because it's not a list. Yeah. Hey, yeah, FlutterCon was amazing. Really sad that we didn't see all together there. But yeah, I saw the video too. I really hope that the talk videos will be released soon. Okay, so we have that. We do not want to panic, but if we get an error, we would like to return that error too. So what we return is error, which is an error, and we return a list of a possible list. So that could be empty actually. Do we return an empty list if there is an error? Probably not. So I have to do it. No. Let me think quickly. Yeah. So groups. And I return not groups as entities. We return groups as a slice of model.group. Probably models.group. And yes, that doesn't exist yet, but in our API models, we have here a Go file that we call group.model.go. Not dot, it's underscore. Good, then we have here our type group, which is a struct. And inside of here, we have more or less exactly the same information for now. That could change in the future, but for now we have the same. And here we don't need necessarily any DB, we only access to the JSON part because we want to unmarshal and marshal it later. I write backend, you write frontend. Yeah, I'm sorry. We could do that actually, so making a group project, why not? But I have to learn it, you know, that's part of my experience. And I want to always call myself a full stack developer, and I believe I am, but you know, if you have never worked with Go, then it's always a little bit tricky. So vetoes, add key tags, maps to match. I think we could change that now. That's maps to chop chop chop. Let's call that right. That's maps per match. And this is the league ID. And vetoes can still be vetoes, I guess. Also in the group entity, I would like to change that. So this is league ID. And these are maps per match. So, good old camel case or upper camel case. Because of the DB, that is matching with that, so that shouldn't be a problem. So we get this, we have the error. It will complain because the name is the same. Don't do that, I think. So, error and nil. If there is an error, we return nil or return we empty list. It's a question that is very good. I think we return nil. Don't want to give the false impression that we return something else. So is there anything that is not working? Maybe I have to pass that like this. Oh, why is it complaining here? Expected got MP unwrap paraphentis. Okay. Maybe I don't have to do it this way. Yeah, fair enough. Good. So we return that and we can log the whole error process. So probably we don't have access to the context here in the repository at the moment. That being said, we can log it very easily here, but without... I could ask for the logger here that we have this variable for the logger up there and we can just use it everywhere. But that doesn't feel right. So what I could do is pass in the logger, this context to the group and to the group method, so that we get the ctxgen context inside. The problem then, I pollute all the different layers with the context. Not very beautiful at the end. Error is not input groups. Error whatever. What? Seeing you as you are using Postgres, will you be covering listen and notify for those real-time notifications through your Go server to the... Let's see, Mike. I don't know. At the moment, I have nothing planned like that, but it could be an option, yeah. Would be great, actually. It is on GitHub, but at the moment, not public, I believe. I glaube. My English. So GitHub, let's switch. I think let's have a look. That is the Warcraft free game tracker. Where is it? Here, that one. Is it public? I don't even know. Yeah, it's public. So yes. Haha. So you can join if you like and give me a lot of options here. So posting here and posting there. Is that too small for you? I can also increase that a little bit. Copy paste the groups, whatever, whoever. Okay. So something like that. No, that's not possible. The get all groups don't want to receive anything, right? Because we want to get all groups from the database. So that's the idea. So we want to pass back the groups or nothing. So, and the error is the error, and probably I don't have to pass in the names here. Yeah, so something like that would be possible, I guess. So, and with that, we return that, and we return the group entities. And that's not right, because we want to map them. And there, as I learned the last time, there is no map function inside of Go. So what we have to do is we really loop over that. So group 4, we can do something fancy and say we have the index and the entity and enter that inside of the range of group entities. And then we can scroll over them. And now we create the models group from it. So probably I have to create a models group, and I am not quite sure. I can make that, but making is a bad idea, I believe, because I don't know the length. Ah, I know the length. Okay, so I can create that. So we have the group models, which is make of the type models.group, and the length of the size will be the length of the group entities. And now it complains because cannot make group models group. It's a slice of that, obviously. So great. So because now we know the length, we can directly say that. And this here is, we go to the index of the group models, and then we pass in, we go through all of the steps, then we say that, and then we create a models.group and fill all the fields. And there we then take the entity.id, entity.name, entity.leagueid, e.admin, the e.votes, vetoes, and the e.maps per match, and the e.status. And actually, whatever we get there, we return nil and the group that we want to pass. And the group is, in our case, the group models. Simple enough. And that looks okay-ish, I guess. Any update to that? Do you need WebSockets? Not yet. Made Go Fiber for project. Don't, Tariko, good. Don't overtake it, right? I want to learn here something. So I really want to go step by step. And if I make mistakes, that's just part of the project at the end. Which idea? I use the Goland part. That's also from the idea suite at the end. Probably we'll have to change that sooner or later because I am... because my licenses will run off, but then we will have to check if I use VS Code or any other editor that can support Go there. But Goland is just, yeah, you know me, IntelliJ is my favorite, so probably I'll also just extend the license at the end. So good, so we return nil as an error, right? So no error returned, but we get the group models, and in our API that we get the all groups, we can now call repo.getAllGroups. Probably, why is it yellow? We don't use the value, right? What is that now? So exactly, we don't handle the error yet because we get the error back. So it will warn us. And E is just the groups that we return. And what we want to do is using the context and say we return JSON. We use the HTTP code, HTTP status OK, and we pass in the groups. Good, and that should do the trick already. Thanks to CTX.json, we already make the marshalling from that to that. And the only thing, yeah, we get the group models, so that should work. We don't have a date or anything fancy inside of it, so we don't have to override the JSON marshal or unmarshaled method. So actually this all groups handler should already work, and we have this as a getter. So what I will do is in our tools project, I will create a new file called group.http. And inside of here, we can now make a GET request to HTTP localhost. Let's copy that over from the leak part, because there I have that a little bit more easier. So we have that, and here instead of leaks, we have groups, and we pass in a def. And I think we can add here like what this request will do. Get all groups from our database. Good, and we don't pass anything in as information. That should do the trick already. So let's try it. Docker is running, right? So that means, yep, error binding is already in use. Okay, so our server is at the moment not starting. Let's try that again. Listening to the server, perfect. And with that, we can call that. We get an empty object, which should be fine. We get a 200, so something has called. And now to make sure that this also works, let's go into the group. Visible as table, and add a new row. This one will default. The group will be, for example, peon pit. The league ID. Good point. This is a foreign key to the league, so probably we have to change that here. Modify table. This one is a foreign key. Key, foreign key, add foreign key. And let's see how I can add that. Column name is the league ID. And the target name is no completion. Why? League dot ID. Reference is MP target table. Ah, okay, that's the league table. And there it is, the ID. So add constraint. So probably I have to do that. And in the future, it's nice that we can do that here. So probably there is no unique constraint matching given keys for the reference. Target name is not ID. It is ID. Column name, blah, blah, blah. League, comment. There is no unique constraint matching given keys. Yes, I use air at the moment. It's pretty cool. Hey, I'm looking for an Go is a simple language, but thanks to that tooling must be great. Yeah, it's pretty amazing actually. It's just if you're starting new with Go, you know, then you are a little bit slower with everything. I'm looking for an internship. I'm also Go developer and made some APIs before. That's good. You could work on it, but as I said, I just want to learn myself at the moment. What's going on? Is it Flutter? No, actually, we made the Flutter part in the front before, and now we are working a little bit on the server side. So we make here a full stack project from Flutter to Go and everything. And yeah, but I see right now that the time is running short and I will probably not going any further. I just want to give you a round trip what we have done so far. So we have created this nice little UI to show our leaks at the moment. So we have a Flutter application that with a small URL opener for the website. And now the next step was to create these groups where we get all the groups like League 1, League 2, League 3, and so on and so forth. And then inside we have the participants and so on and so forth. And we step by step create the APIs there. And thanks to Tarigo who's on Kick, he gave me some hints what I need to do. And yeah, so probably we see us back on Monday, where I want to work further on our project, where we create more and more of this stuff. And I'm really curious on how to see your opinions about it and see how we can go further on that. And if you liked that episode, as always, hit the like button. Check out kick.com, where I live stream more and more. And if you have some questions or anything else, hit it as an issue inside of the GitHub repository. I will put most of the things also down in the video description, like, for example, the project plan and things like that. Cool. If that was something that you are interested in, can't wait to see you again and see you on Monday. Bye.